Alan, how's it going?
It's going good. Glad to be here. Glad to
Yeah,
finally make this work.
glad to talk to you finally after, after the when was the last time we saw each other? It was when back to
Man,
serve, like
yeah,
a drum
yeah.
cam.
Had to have been yeah, November or not November, sorry,
October?
yeah, middle of October toward the end or something. I can't remember how close we were to Halloween at that time when we were out in California, maybe about like week and a half away or
Yeah.
something.
How has it been since? How are you right now? What's
Good.
new?
I've just been chilling at home, kind of working on doing some playthroughs and stuff, and I just got those wrapped up last week, and now I've got some fill-in stuff that I'm doing. I don't really know if I can mention it right now. Yeah, getting that material under my belt, and once that's all done, oh, and then prepping for some festival shows with Dahlia, and we have a pretty sparse summer going on. Like we really hit it hard last year and went to Europe twice and did
Mm-hmm.
all the festivals that we hadn't been to in like years. And so yeah, we have a pretty sparse summer this year. So once I'm done with this fill-in stuff, I might actually try to convince myself to take a break for a second, or at least
Okay.
put in a lower amount of work.
That filling in, do you have a lot to learn? Is it like, is the material like harder than Dahlia? Is it like a lot of blast infused and stuff or no?
There's a lot of odd time stuff that I'm not very accustomed to, and
Okay.
it's like I'll be able to get it down, but it's definitely not something that I normally do in any other projects or have ever felt like super comfortable with. I just kind of, learned a bunch of like Meshuggah songs through constant repetition, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of hoping that this is going to be the same. Otherwise, I'm going to have a crash course in learning how to count and play over the next like 30 days or so.
Or maybe you'll learn during the set.
God, yeah, that's a terrible time to learn, but if we all end
Yeah.
at the same point, then I guess that's good.
Do you know when it's going to be announced?
Um, I don't know exactly. I don't know whether or not they want to make an official announcement. They have fill-in drummers all the time, and it's you know, I think just pretty standard for them. I'm not really sure if they give a shit to say anything before, they go out and play shows. They're just kind of like,
Okay.
there's that guy back there hitting stuff, like, keeping everything in
Okay.
time.
Good luck with that. Good luck with learning.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it's gonna be fine. Yeah. So, anyways, so what are we gonna be doing today? First thing, I would like you to take me down the memory lane with all the albums that you had with Dahlia and like some history behind each album starting with EVERBLACK to Servitude. Doesn't have to be like a fucking 5 hour long podcast. I'm not gonna like interrogate you and shit for it.
Oh man, I
But
was totally
yeah.
ready for that.
Yeah. Yes, and also we're gonna find the new owner to that thing, which is the signed vinyl. Yes,
Hell
for
yeah.
Servitude. Yeah, you will pick the best drummer today, the one who recorded your song. Yes, which is again your album starting with Everblack to Servitude. So that's how it's gonna be. I hope
I'm
it's gonna be fun.
excited.
I
Yeah,
hope it's gonna be fine. I've never seen anyone doing this shit when the actual drummer like, sees the fans play it. I feel like it makes the connection between like the fans and the band a little bit tighter. I don't know. Enough for self-glazing, but
No, it's fun. I mean, I remember basically like learning covers of songs right at the kind of beginning of YouTube and putting it
hmm
online and like wondering who was gonna see it. I still have people that comment and tell me all the time like oh, I used to watch your videos like years ago, and
uh-huh.
yeah, it kind of blows my mind that there are, videos that I put out in like 2007, 2008 that still get watched by people, and that's how they knew me before I even really got into Dahlia or did
hmm
anything notable, So yeah, this is cool to watch other people's covers and just kind of either like
Trash
real
them.
time, yeah, trash them, completely destroy them, make sure that they never want to play drums again. That's
Yeah,
what we're
like
here for.
destroy their self-esteem. I like scroll down to your YouTube back to your Abigail songs
Oh
in
yeah.
your bedroom
Yeah,
with
yeah,
no
that's what I was
mics and
talking
stuff.
about.
Yeah, those were like, I don't know, like your typical 2007 YouTube covers, like kids were doing that stuff and getting tons of views. But right now the quality kind of like is higher. You have to have all these like cameras, all these angles, good sound and stuff. But yeah, back then it was just raw power and raw energy.
Dude, it
I
was
enjoyed them a lot. Yeah.
well, thank you. Yeah, it was nuts because at that time uh there wasn't really a whole lot of like home tech to record with, like we didn't have an easy way to get an interface and like be able to plug it
Yeah.
into your computer from at home and really be able to do pro sounding stuff and have quality um to your
Exactly. Yeah.
videos, so it is like really intimidating and crazy to see how much everything has stepped up in quality since then, and I'm still playing catch up, and all these people are like producing videos that look like they've taken three minors in college where it was like I did a TV broadcast, I did
Yeah.
music performance, and I also did like something else that contributes to the quality of the videos, and so I feel silly, you know, kind of being uh stuck behind everybody else who's
No.
really making it like a consistently great thing that they do
Mhm.
online.
But yeah, I'm thinking that the recent ones that you released were like pretty good with all camera shakes. It was Marshall, right, who recorded them,
No,
or it was you? The
it was me at home with the last two playthroughs, the Mammoth's Hand and Panic Hysteric, and then Robbie, our videographer, who's been going out with us for the last several tours.
hmm
He took the footage, edited it together, and then added a little bit of you know after effects. I don't know if it's like actually After Effects, but he added a little bit extra to it to make it uh look just a little bit more pro. And that's all like GoPros that I had like mounted or on stands, and recorded it in my basement. And this next playthrough is gonna set the bar even higher for me in a way that I
Okay,
can't do on my own because it's actually filmed in a studio with like Steadicam and lighting, and this dude knows what he's doing. So yeah,
that's sick.
I won't be able to follow it up unless I go back to him.
When you sit down to record, play through, especially, you come to the studio to do it, is it usually like one song or you come prepared for the whole like set list and then you pick a bunch of songs? How's it working for you?
I generally have a list of songs that I want to record, whether it's at home or not. Like when it's at home, I have no deadlines. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. So if I feel like
hmm
I'm comfortable enough with something, I'll just go grab the cameras and plug the,
hmm
interface into my computer and just go for it. But yeah, if you're going to somebody else, then you generally want to show up prepared. And I had a handful of songs that I was pretty confident on because two of them are uh, songs that we did stuff with in the last tour. And
hmm
then another two of them were songs that we were going to play recently. And so then when the tour didn't pan out,
hmm
I just was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, keep this under my belt and try and go record it because that would, not only be beneficial for content and stuff, but it always helps the
hmm
performance aspect, like the knowing that you've learned the song and then going and recording it. It's like when you have to play it right, and especially under a bunch of microphones. I think that makes you like super prepared for a live situation. So hopefully I'll remember them in a few months if we pull those out.
hmm But does it stress you out when you have all these cameras? Do you have like a the first take and done, or you're like, oh fuck it, I just screwed it up because the cameras were rolling. So how's that for you? Do you have this kind of stress?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Like I have some serious performance anxiety and I've always had it. I've always had to you know, mitigate it somehow and I think it's just like the constant exposure of playing shows, being
mm-hmm,
recorded, all that type of stuff. You try to be on top of things as best as you can, but like when I'm at home, it really feels like the least amount of pressure, for the most
mm-hmm,
part. Um, I'm not too worried about trying to get like a solid
mm-hmm,
one take or anything. I kind of have the mindset of it's two different, scenarios where if you're gonna do a one take, then you're not gonna like edit any camera angles at all. You're just gonna have one just to like prove that you did it, and great. Like then you can show everybody that you did it in
mm-hmm.
one take. But like for the most part, I don't know. People are different. They want to see different things. They either want to see like really cool multi-cam edits and stuff like that, or they want the one take. And I just kind of am like, dude, if you want to see a one take, come to a show. Like that's the
Yeah,
easiest way that you're gonna get what you want out of it. And most of the material or a lot of the material that I record is like stuff that done or will do at performances or shows but yeah, it's just kind of like I'm not gonna sit there and uh overly
mm-hmm,
try to prove myself or something when it's like, dude, I'll do it. Like at some point you can
yeah,
watch me do this, and you've seen me play shows, so like I'm not sitting here like doing gravity blasts at like 350
yeah.
BPM and being like, no, I totally do this for real.
You have the whole set on your YouTube, which is like a whole and like an hour long set that you have. One angle, one camera, like what the fuck else do you want, right? If
Exactly. And
yeah.
uh shout out to Drummers Anonymous for that because I think that's what they are.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it's them. It's them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because
I know
uh
the world of drum cam people. It's like not
yeah.
so many of us, but yeah, it's the guy. I don't know who is the guy behind it, but shout out to him. Yeah.
Shit, yeah, because they gave me all the footage, because they only wanted to do like two songs or whatever, and I just had like a fucking great night that night. I was like, dude, I really want to put this out because Lyle Cooper's got his whole playthrough or set filmed of doing planetary duality, and I was just like, dude, that is so killer, and like everybody likes watching this. I like watching this because you get to see like all
Mm-hmm.
these songs consecutively. And I know I wasn't doing like an album or anything, but man, you can't argue with like an hour and 10 or 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes of material. So I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, that would be great to get up on YouTube for sure.
Yeah, I was also yeah, I'm messaging Marsh, with the with the last batch of songs, from the drum cam that I shot
Oh yeah.
for you. Yeah, we'll get them back to you as soon as possible. Maybe you'll rewatch it, maybe you'll like it the same way. I know you said that you had like a lot of fuck ups, but when I was like editing it, I was like, where are those fuck ups? I haven't seen any.
It's tough to you know, in reviewing that stuff,
Uh-huh.
I know what you mean. Like the first song of the set, which is like the first song of our new album, I had a section where I played something a little weirdly and it was like just not what was practiced or
Uh-huh.
recorded, but it really didn't derail
Like feel.
anything. Yeah, and it didn't like really trip up anything, which is something that I definitely need to internalize more, but it's hard because when you're in the middle of the performance and you do something that like you just didn't plan on doing, especially if you're like super rehearsed or you just play the same thing every night, then you're gonna be like, oh God, that was like wrong. I don't know what it was, but it was
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And I can't get over that, or I know that like thinking about the set getting right after or getting off of the stage right after is like, okay, I know that I messed these parts up because I can remember doing something weird, and whether or not it was actually bad or not is something that I don't have the memory for detail of, and therefore I'm like, can't use this song, can't use this song, can't use this song.
I remember, yeah, I remember I came up to you after the show when I was saying like because I was backstage with the like with my old camera, like the one that records only 30 minutes, that those like old DSLR cameras.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like so fucking stressed out that I would have to like run up to the stage, press the button, go back. I was like so stressed out. But then, the time finished. It was like 30 minutes, and it was just right when you had the interlude between the songs. So I like
Oh.
ran up to it, like pressed the record, and yeah, and but I remember returning to that thing. I remember that after the show, you were not really happy with the performance. You're like, I don't know, man, about it. And I remember seeing you backstage. The man it was fucking killing it. Yeah, and I remember it was such a steam room of a show in
Oh
Santa
yeah.
Cruz. It was like so freaking hot. And I was thinking how drumsticks don't slip from his hands. How is he even how does he even manage to do that? Do you have like any memories of that show in particular in Santa Cruz?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like you said, it was extremely hot. That was like part of kind of what contributed to me feeling like not super great about everything,
Mm-hmm.
but like yeah, I mean, aside from that, I think the other thing that just kind of makes it a little bit more psychologically difficult is we on that tour were switching drum risers or like switching drum kits off of drum risers between me and Trey from Dying
Mm-hmm.
Fetus, and man, it was like we had probably about three hands in not including myself, so like four people um moving a drum kit off, like moving Trey's drum kit off of the riser and then moving mine onto it. And we have like a 20-minute changeover. And it's like, dude, we have to be like a NASCAR pit crew, like just, taking everything apart, like throwing everything off the stage as fast as possible, getting my stuff up on the stage, having to hook everything up, make sure that
Mm-hmm.
every microphone has its cable properly wired, to the right microphones and all that stuff. And
Yeah, it adds stress to it. It
it
does.
does because by the time we get done or we got done almost every single night of having to switch drum kits off of the riser, I would have like literally about maybe a minute if I was lucky. And if not, then it was like we should be starting right this second, but I'm gonna have to sit here for like 30 seconds and make sure that everything is positioned correctly and everything's ready to go. And yeah, with that kind of stuff, it doesn't allow you to really focus and put yourself
Mm-hmm.
in the moment. It's kind of like you're just worried about every single thing that just happened, and you're not even like aware of certain things where you're like, oh, my symbol's like way out here
Mm-hmm.
where it normally wouldn't be, and I just didn't even notice that because there was too much to deal with. So yeah, that was kind of a thing. And aside from that, it was a great show. Like everybody was really pumped, and that place was packed out. That was awesome. But yeah, it's just a difficult thing to have to be your own drum tech and um help move somebody else's
Yeah.
stuff and then get all your stuff situated and then switch gears and start playing immediately.
It's like a lot of stress. I can't even imagine how stressful it is every single night, and I feel like you don't get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. There is definitely like a mental countdown going on in, my day of, okay, like I'm gonna try and take a nap. I like literally have to nap during tours. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that I stay up way too late like the night before and then wake up, with not enough sleep, but there's
Mm-hmm.
something about tour where it's like you do about 3 or 4 hours of work, whether it's like, I mean, it's usually just setting up your kit. Um, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, like
Mm-hmm.
unload your stuff, wait to get like on the stage with it, and then set it up, do your sound check, then either take it off the stage again or leave it. But either way, it just becomes like, a scheduling juggling
Mm-hmm.
thing where it's like, okay, I've got about 6 hours left. So that means I'm gonna go get some food, go take like a 2 or 3 hour nap, wake up, do something for like another hour or so, and then,
Mm-hmm.
an hour before the show, I'm definitely trying to warm up and make sure that I'm like getting in the zone to play. And then it all boils down to, again, like those last 20 minutes or whatever before you got to go on, whether it's like you got to throw your shit back up on stage and all that, and you can't really focus on just, putting the blinders on, the mental blinders on, and
Mm-hmm.
really like wanting to do the show and whatnot. But like, yeah, it's difficult, and but it's you get used to it. It's like, I think the more pressure that you're under consistently, um you kind of acclimate to it. As
Mm-hmm.
bad as it sounds, it's like there shouldn't be like a ton of pressure and confusion and
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of stuff, but it helps you to be a little bit more flexible and to kind of just be like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. It's difficult, it's annoying, it's frustrating, but like at least we've dealt with this before and we're not in a, total like panic shutdown mode or something.
Yeah, and it works every time. Every stream that you guys had in preparation for like shooting the drum cam for you guys, I was just watching every stream just like to establish how much time I would have, like how much time is the set would be. And yeah, every time you killed it. Every
Oh,
single
thanks,
time. Yeah,
man.
yeah, you just killed it.
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know how many of those you watch, but I completely forgot until I would get off the stage or something, that we were like filming and live,
mhm,
recording all of these, and you're getting the stage audio and everything, and there would absolutely be a couple of nights or songs where I felt like I like botched something really badly or just kind of like stumbled through something or whatever, and I'd be like, "Fuck!" and I was like, "Oh yeah, everybody at home is watching this," and I'm like
uh,
screaming at my drum kit right now.
it gets deleted like it got deleted after like an hour or instantly. So if you watched it, you watched it. If you like want to revisit it, you are never gonna like see it again, from what I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I just don't know
So
how many people got the privilege of watching those nights where I got pissed off and was
yeah.
screaming at my drum kit.
But you got it. You got it. Okay, so you talked about your schedule, like at work, basically, right? Like how it's
Yeah.
working. What is like typical Alan Cassidy's day
Oh
usually
God.
like?
So, I am the worst at being a structured adult, and
Okay. No, but you have your schedule. Actually, I got a couple questions. You have your fucking schedule. What are you talking about?
my
It
well,
that
my
mean
schedule is very like kind of make it up as I feel for the day or whatever.
Deftones show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do have to write that shit down. Like, I sent you a picture of my
Yeah.
calendar to be like, okay, well, this is what shit's looking like for my month if you want to,
Uh-huh.
figure out where to do an interview in here. But yeah, it's like for the most part, it depends on what's going on. If there's like a tour coming up, like an actual tour, like 30 days or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, then I definitely am trying to um get ready about like 2 to 4 weeks beforehand, depending on
Mm-hmm.
like what's going on. If there's a bunch of extra songs to learn that I haven't played before, or if it's a set list of like staples and things that we've been doing constantly, then I won't put as much time into it. But I try to make sure that I play about like 2 to 4 hours a day. And I used to go a lot longer back in the day, somewhere between like 4 and 6 or maybe even 8 hours
Mm-hmm.
depending. But yeah, if we have a tour coming up, then I'll start getting ready for it about then. And if not, I'm not, you know, carving out a ton of time for drums because to me personally, you need to be inspired and motivated to play. And like
Mm-hmm.
those are two separate things, but it's like the motivation of it isn't always there. You got to kind of like, you know, push yourself to do something if you're trying to accomplish something. But like, I used to play practically every day in between tours, and that didn't matter if it was like a tour was like 2.5 months away or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would take like maybe a week off, then just go hammer these songs all the time. And I just got to a point where I was like getting so burnt out, and it just felt, like a job. It was like I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
learning anything. I was just literally going over stuff constantly to try and make sure that I was as solid as possible on these songs and that I could get up on stage and, just if anything happened, I was just so in the zone from knowing it that I could, you know, get through any difficulty. So nowadays it's kind of like I'll take, a week or two or three, depending on how many, like, you know, uh, how much time there is between something I
Mm-hmm.
have to do and the time that I just got off. And that helps to kind of, just like recharge the batteries and get you to actually want to go back to doing stuff again
Mm-hmm.
and just, like just not burning yourself out. Um, but yeah, I mean, and things are always changing. It's like whether or not I'm like gonna go out with a different band or I'm gonna record for somebody or I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna learn covers that I want to do or playthroughs or something. I try to just kind of like put in a minimum of about 4 hours a day, like to try and, get to a place that I'm comfortable with the material by a
Mm-hmm.
certain point.
But yeah, you probably like played those songs so many times, even off tour, right? It's just like, have you started hating any,
Oh,
actually?
dude, I got sick of like absolutely sick of What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse like by year 4 or 5. Like
Oh my goodness.
we could omit that from the set list for the forever and I would be very happy to never touch that song again.
Like never again.
Never, never, never. That song to
Wow.
me is just so whatever that I'm like, I mean, it's so straightforward, at least from the drum perspective, and there's really not a hell of a lot going on. It's just a song that I feel ultra comfortable with, but it does nothing for me as far as drums or whatever, and I just kind of don't care. And yes, I could absolutely never play that song again. I'd be 100% fine on my
Do you like
deathbed.
zone out when you play this song at the show? Does your body do the job and you're like thinking about something else?
Dude,
Or you have to
yes.
be, yes.
Like at times, yes. Like there are certain songs, whether or not I expect it or not, that one of the other ones I think would be like Kings of the Night World. Sometimes we'll be playing that and we'll be like 75% of the way through it or something, like on the third chorus or whatever. And all of a sudden it's like I get back into my like actual present consciousness of playing the
Mm-hmm.
song and I just go, shit, is this the last repetition? And yeah, so maybe there might be like a little bit of a go to the hi-hat in case it's not, and then be like, oh no, it is. Okay, go back to the ride, like for,
Okay.
so I have like 2/16 over here or something, and I'm like, oh no, it's back over here. And but yeah, yeah, sometimes I am absolutely on autopilot, and other nights I am thinking about every single hit that's coming out of my hands, and I can't like disassociate from it.
Hmm. Would like Death Mask also be in the list of the songs that you like fucking get rid of or no?
I mean, I like it. I could probably be okay if we got rid of it too, Like it's not a big deal, but yeah, it's not a terrible one. It doesn't bother me too much. I kind of like the vibe. I kind of like the uh feel of it and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's man, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that I'm just really oh, I Will Return also could just totally do away with
Damn,
that
like you're
song.
gonna break hearts of so many blast fiends
I know, dude.
on
I'm
Facebook.
sorry, but like my fandom of this band is not in the popular like
Okay.
playlist category of what people really like. And I Will Return to me is like another one of those where I just zone out and I wish I had a
Mm-hmm.
drumometer that told me like that could count down instead of up and told me like how many hits I had left because once we start I Will Return, I'm just like, dude, I can't wait to be done with this. I can't
And
wait to be
then
done
like
with the
this chord
set.
is striking like bow, brrr, and you already fuck. Okay, here we go again.
Yeah,
Right?
at least it's just an issue of like I just have to sit here and play this for 3.5, 4 minutes or something like that, and it's the easiest thing in the world. I don't have to worry about a single thing. That would be a much better problem to have than to be overly worried about what
Okay.
you're doing and how it's gonna,
Hmm.
come out. So
So yeah, I wanted to ask this question like later on when we like talk about each album. Since we're talking about the set list, so I've got a hypothetical situation. So imagine you are like laying down in your bus, you are fucking having a nap, taking a nap, and like Brian, he just like runs up to you and says, "Alan, wake the fuck up. You are in charge. You're gonna have to come up with the set list you want to play. It could be like deep cuts, like Godlessly or Christ Deformed or whatever the fuck. So what would it be?"
that's a difficult scenario because if that was an emergency situation, which we've already kind of had in the past, it was like my first tour with the band was that Death Clock tour back in October 2012 and or actually really November because we started like right at the tail end of no, we did start at the beginning of November. We had to like move some dates around. But I remember Machine Head had to drop off of the Fargo, North Dakota show, I believe, and uh, and yeah, it's my first tour ever. We're only like maybe 2 weeks or so deep, and they just go, do you know any other songs that we can play? Because we have a longer set tonight. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I learned a couple of extra songs like the 2 weeks before this, just so that way, like I could play the full set with you guys. And I didn't practice anything else. I was just really focused on these, like my audition songs, and then the ones that you gave to me afterward. And dude, it was the craziest thing. I swear to God, like the power of believing in yourself and also just really like being zoned in on what you
Mm-hmm.
need to do and just not letting your own brain get in the way. Um, I was like, for some reason, I was like, I think I could do statutory ape. Like, I think that's one that I could pull off. And it was weird because it wasn't ever like one of my favorites from
Mm-hmm.
Miasma, and thank God that's like a staple for them. Because I think if I would have pulled out some deep cut or something, they probably would have been like, we don't know that one. Um, but dude, I had to learn statutory ape like within 6 hours or something of playing it on stage with them, and it went as great as it possibly could have. And I think it was just kind of like that idea of, hey man, I got nothing to lose. Like, this is a one-time thing, hopefully in this tour. And if we kind of like botch something, I am the new guy, and this was sprung on me. I didn't have any notice to
Mm-hmm.
be on top of this or something. Um, so yeah, if Brian came to me, to set up a set list, I don't know that I would pick like a bunch of songs that I don't know. I would probably try to keep it as close to the staples that most people
Mm-hmm.
like as possible. But
But if
um,
you like had the ability to insert them into your brain like really quickly, like
mhm.
like an SD card, what would it be?
Okay, so I'm looking through the discography right now.
Okay.
And I think that I would do. That Cannot Die, which is Eternally Dead.
Oh wow, that's a
From
deep cut. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
deep cut.
There's a handful of abysmal songs that I really wish we could have done back at the time. And I don't know if we'll, revisit it or whatever, but I really dig that song. That was a fun one for me. And then what else? Definitely Christ Deformed, like you mentioned. Um, I would like to bring uh Every Rope and Noose back into the set list off of
That's a hard
EVERBLACK.
song. Constant double bass and blasts. The first, what is it like? First minute or
Dude, throughout the entire song,
the
it's just like
entire song.
for like, you know,
First, I thought it was like blast and it two kicks, but then I realized you just constantly like playing the double bass. I thought it just like trun 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 trun, like a Portnoy feel kind of thing.
exactly. We call that, or at least I've heard it referred to as a diarrhea blast, where it's like snare followed by the triplet feet. So it's like
Yeah.
like, but that would actually, it would be good because I could get away with doing that in a live scenario if for some weird reason I just couldn't do
Mm-hmm.
the triplet run the entire time. But yeah, that song I've been trying to film like a little clip for socials, and
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't really spent a whole lot of time on it, and I haven't been playing that type of demanding stuff in so long that it's just not quite as tight as I want it to be yet. Um, so it was a fun one to do for sure. It was awesome that we
Mm-hmm.
played it live, but yes, it's very demanding in the sense that like it is a constant run. It's not like a snare kick kick snare kick kick. It's like kicks the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I remember, yeah, when you were like when it was the Kill 'Em All DVD. I remember, when there's like the live show there, I remember you were fucking dying there. Like it was kind of because it's
there
a
were
demanding song. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was like your probably first year. Like it's right after it was like Warped Tour, I think.
yeah,
Like when
yeah.
you were playing it. Yeah, it is a demanding song. Okay, but what about like two? Give me two more, and we are done.
Dude, I love Virally Yours. That is a great nocturnal song that I wish
Mm-hmm.
we would play a little bit more. And I think another one that would be fun is Flies for sure. Like,
Lies. Well,
yeah,
good
and I
choice.
tend to
It's perfect
gravitate.
choice.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate toward the groovy stuff. Like, I mean, I like the blast and everything, but groove just to me like there's much more that you get out of it in my
Mm-hmm.
perspective than just constantly like blasting, through everything. It's sort of like it's easier to perform blasting songs for the most part because there's a lot less to think of unless there's actual like accents going on that you
Mm-hmm.
need to remember. But like the groove stuff, is much more fulfilling to me, because there's to me there's more expression in there, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you just can't blast through the whole set with the songs like Threat Level. It's not sustainable. You're
Yeah,
not gonna like
yeah.
survive. You're gonna like hate it, what, after like 10 more years, I would say.
I'm
Wait.
scared. I'm scared to know what we're going to be doing in 10 years and like what my level of physicality is and what we're going to, be expecting of ourselves and then there's going to be future albums too and I'm kind of like, man, do I need to dial any of this back? I mean, like there is already some of that consideration there, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
because of like, hey, what are we gonna do when we're older? It's more like what's gonna make the crowd uh really enjoy this? Like it's easier to do simpler things and get people like excited about it
Mm-hmm.
versus doing a bunch of like really crazy over the top stuff that is kind of hard to translate or to hear perfectly in a like festival
Mm-hmm.
type environment. You know what I mean? Like if it's Aftermath is kind of a stretch. Like Aftermath is real fast and shit, but it's very surgical in terms of the blasting. It's like there's
Mm-hmm.
only accents where there's really supposed to be accents, and I think that like playing it even a tempo that's close to 240, which is relatively not, the fastest thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It still has to translate well to audiences, and it can't just be like you're caught in a blender of riffs and drums and being like, what's happening here, you
What
know?
am I gonna do? How am I gonna mosh and shit? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I'm sure the band is gonna evolve naturally. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
and maybe, at some point you'll have to slow down. You don't have to push yourself like every fucking single album cycle. It's not sustainable. And
that's
do
not what the
you,
fans want.
they will age with you guys. So we will age with you. I'm the fan as well. So
Well,
what
they
am I
don't
fucking?
they don't call them the blast fiends for nothing, you know?
Oh
Like
yeah, that's
they
for
want
sure.
the blasts, and I know that when I put out videos that are not blast heavy, some people might get a little bent out of shape, and it's just kind of like, hey man, I mean, there's so many songs that are blast heavy, and it's like this is kind of just a one trick pony. I mean, like it works well in context for certain material and all that, but I think that there's more to, again, the groove than there is blasting because it's more expressive, it's more thought out, it's more like, whatever. And I try to like add things that are interesting for blasting for myself, which is why I do a lot of like one-footed blasting that has like little open and close accents on the hi-hat and stuff because it makes it a little bit more entertaining. It makes it a little just more difficult, but like I still feel like writing grooves is tougher to perform or to or it's like more interesting to listen to than just a barrage of like singles that are like like constantly, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. For example, when you have, what is it, Warworms Feast, when you had
Mm.
these like the chorus, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really it's challenging. Those though the song doesn't like feel like it's the most fastest one, but there is like so much going on there. Yeah, which is totally understandable.
That was actually tough. Real quick, little
Yeah.
little anecdote. Um yeah, that was a little tough because the verses, like just that groove, that
Yeah, with the
not
hi-hat.
even well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean like that's some chorus stuff, but like there was like like just little hi-hat things that I was doing for the rhythm to try and like
Hmm.
really groove it out was tough because I was kind of coming up with things as I was demoing it, like just feeling it out and then like piecing or moving things around to really flesh it out and make sure that like the groove sounded as good as it could. And so that was actually more difficult for me because I'm having to like learn hi-hat patterns that sound very whatever or like arbitrary or kind of like it's just carrying a groove, like what is there to think about? But it's sort of like no, this, like what you're doing on the hi-hat really does affect the way
Hmm.
that this is pulsating. And then um there are two different choruses, and I've done that on a handful of songs throughout Dahlia where the first chorus is a certain beat and then the second chorus is a second beat. And I've liked when I've gotten to do that because it doesn't make me choose which one I want to do or which one is better, quote unquote.
Hmm.
It's like I get to do both ideas, like for the song and kind of being like, well, I feel it like either way, and I leave it to the guitar player, and I'm like, what do you think? works better? And they're kind of like, I don't know, why don't you do both? And I'm just like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. Like I like the idea of not making it copy and paste type of shit, like having like different ideas that don't repeat, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, and it makes it like less repetitive.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
also, yeah, and you were also talking about this like closed hi-hat. Yeah, it's not everyone hears it, but those who do, for example, what is the song? Hecatomb? What is it?
Oh yeah,
Catacomb? The one
Catacomb
where you
Hecatomb.
start, yeah, where you started with the like 1 foot blast with the hi-hat closed and open. It's just it's challenging. It's hard. This shit is difficult, right? I don't know. It's for me, it gives a character to the song as opposed to just like fucking blasting, just with the open hi-hat. I don't know.
And
Maybe.
that's a tough thing to suss out in terms of like writing is you know, do you want to keep things very simple and straightforward and be like, you know, easy to understand or to play, or do you want to add a little bit of extra character to it? And I'm biased as hell because I grew up on like Bron Daler from
Mm-hmm.
Mastodon, and like I gravitated towards like every drummer that overplayed everything. So I tend to want to throw in much more than just like the necessary components or
Mm-hmm.
accents of a song. And yeah, so you know, like I've used the one-footed hi-hat stuff quite a bit, and that comes from like playing with Abigail Williams and then listening to like Origin and
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, wanting to zhuzh it up a little bit and give like a little extra to the basic idea, you know?
Yeah, I could see some John's influence there. Yeah, because he's like beast behind the drum set. When I first time saw Sick Drummer video, I think like how is it even possible? Like doing the patafla-flas on the set, like
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
ridiculous. The
And
guys.
I don't have my dude, my pedals are like here's my slave pedal, the left
Uh-huh.
foot, and then here's my hi-hat. It's like that far over, so I can't do anything that would allow me to do 16th notes on the kick drum while
Mm-hmm.
also being able to just like you know, like when it would make sense. I have to be very deliberate in
Mm-hmm.
the patterning of, you know, doing the blasting and then getting over to the hi-hat and shit like that. And I don't mind it too much because it just, you know, it means that like I have to again be deliberate, but I also can just like challenge myself in a little bit of a way to
Mm-hmm.
make it happen. And you know, that's not a bad thing. Like I think like overcoming obstacles and, you know, figuring out how you want to do or how to do what you want to do is really important for, you know, uh growth essentially, and kind of getting used to difficulties and things.
Amen. Yeah, that's totally correct. I have nothing else to say. It's just sign, I approve this message, even though I haven't toured. But I wanted to ask stuff about breathing process stuff, the agony scene that you have, that you like have auditioned for them, right? It didn't when you were in high school, did it actually happen? Right? But you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
about to get on tour with them, but it didn't follow through. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. So, I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, you know, things work a certain way for various
Mm-hmm.
reasons, and I think ultimately, you know, you're gonna get positivity out of things that don't pan out exactly the way that you want for one
Mm-hmm.
reason or another. It's like maybe you're just not totally ready, or maybe it just wasn't the right situation for you, or you know, it could be a thousand things, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that like hindsight on a lot of that stuff is, you know, very helpful, and it also makes you like appreciate why it worked out or didn't work out or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the agony scene, like dude, I was that was like the dawning of social media, and that was when like MySpace was really picking up, and all these bands had in their bios or their, I can't remember if there was
Mm-hmm.
like a actual member listing or something, but I used to go through all these bands member listings that were on their MySpace pages, and I would see whether or not they had a drummer, and then I would just hit them up and be like, "Hey man, you guys looking for somebody?" And yeah, like it did actually work out a couple of times to get like the ability to have an audition or
Mm-hmm.
something. And the Agony scene, it was interesting because, like I said, it was also the beginning of like YouTube. And so it was like, dude, there was hardly anybody who really put drum covers or anything
Mm-hmm.
up on that site. And it was, I think, partially because there just wasn't the technology to do like a home
Mm-hmm.
recording very easily. So people weren't, trying to put out video camera recordings. And on top of
Or a
that, we didn't.
doorbell.
Yeah, yeah, doorbell recorders. Yeah, yeah. If you're looking for a cheap solution, that might be it. But it was strange because at that time too there was just no uh smartphones with like
Mm-hmm.
actual decent cameras or anything. It was like I had to get a hold of the dude at my school who was a skateboarder and was really good at making skate videos, and he knew how to
Mm-hmm.
edit, and he had the camera equipment and all that stuff. And I had him come over, and it was funny because it was like I screwed up a few times, and I had to have him sit there for about like 40 minutes to record like a, you know, 5 minute song or something like that. And I was just like, shit, no, I screwed this up. I gotta start over from the beginning. And then we went to his house, and we took a shitty credit card metronome, and
Mm-hmm.
we sat that next to a microphone. I can't remember, I don't think he had like an actual microphone, but like put it next to the computer microphone or something and recorded the BPM, and then lined that up with the audio. And that was how I recorded to a click track. And then I had like in the video of the Abigail Williams thing, I had the credit card metronome thing up next to my ear so I could hear. It was in a hat, so I could hear the tempo the entire time. But like, yeah, with the Agony scene, like it was as raw as you could get. It was just like a VHS camcorder, recorded it, sent it in, and yeah, and then like I got a call back a few weeks later, and it just didn't work out because I was in my senior year of high school, or I was about to be in my senior year of high school, and I had one more semester worth of credits to
Mm-hmm.
try and graduate with. And unfortunately, it had to be the fall semester. It couldn't be like, hey, skip fall semester, go in the spring, because I would have had to have like withdrawn from school, like actually, filled out paperwork and been like, okay, I'm a minor who's not gonna be here for the senior year, and then reapply or something like in the spring semester, which was just a
Mm-hmm.
big nightmare. And so yeah, they wanted to record the next album like in November of that year, and I wouldn't have been done until like maybe beginning of
Mm-hmm.
January or something, and it just wasn't gonna work out. But it was still uh more than I ever thought I was going to get out of a situation where a band actually uh replied to me about trying out, and really was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool, like and then was going to go further with it. But it also bummed me out big time because I didn't know if I was ever going to get that opportunity again with another band, and just kind of feeling like, dude, I'm in Wyoming. Like, there's nothing going on here. I'm so far away from anyone else. Like, I can't just go to shows and meet these big band artists, like casually or something, and get involved with cool shit. It's just kind of like I am almost on a desert island, sort of having to like rely on the internet to
Mm-hmm.
find my next step or something. And being that young, you're just kind of like, dude, I gotta go to college if this doesn't work out. And it's like a commitment to go to college, and not have like a plan to, you know, go play in a band or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So parents hate the fact that you're like, I'm just waiting for that opportunity. And they're like, yeah, you should,
Go to
you know,
college. Yeah.
exactly.
There was the info that you like auditioned for the Faceless,
I
like
did.
the vocal
Yeah,
audition.
I
What
did.
do you actually know how to like do the extreme vocals and stuff?
Yeah, I actually learned how to do it from listening to Unhollowed, and I delivered pizza for a number of years, so I got to drive around and listen to music and scream at the top of my lungs in my car. And it was like, yeah, just kind of listening to how Trevor sounded. I um sort of already had a physical idea of like what to do with
Mm-hmm.
your voice for it, but it was like I was really able to refine it by driving around and just
Mm-hmm.
practicing. And yeah, so when the Faceless parted ways with Derek, between, God, what was that? I think it was the first album in Planetary Duality, maybe. Um, they needed a vocalist, and I just was like, I think I could do this. Like a lot of it's just lows, and there are some highs, and I feel like I'm definitely not the most what is it, like, developed vocalist. Like I
Mm-hmm.
am kind of one-dimensional in terms of death metal stuff, but yeah, I have a couple of videos that are still up on YouTube of my audition, and I got another call back from them, and it was actually going through like Ash Advilson from Sumerian. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like dealing directly with anybody in the band or anything, but he had reached out and he was like, "Yeah, we saw your video and we really liked it." And I think like my leg up was just it being so early on in this like developing world of not only social media
Mm-hmm.
but like music in general. I mean, dude, we have taken leaps and bounds since uh metal has really become modern and caught on
Mm-hmm.
again and has been developed, and so I was able to kind of just be like, yeah, I might just, be able to do this with the only demands being like do a low and do a high. And
Okay.
then they wanted a what was it, a performance video. Like they wanted to see like my stage presence, and I was
Oh,
kind of like, fucking weird. I'm like recording this in my friend's basement. Like I don't know how to like convey stage presence at not a show. It's like I'm doing the audition to have the best sounding vocals, and so I like just went stupid with it, and I like came running out, did like a Jack Black like kick in the air thing. This isn't online anymore, but this was the video that I sent them for this stage performance.
okay.
And I
Do
was
you
like,
have it still?
my friend was the one who would have had it because I had no recording tech or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had the video camera and we were using another friend's PA system to do this. And I was like, what's up, Boise, Japan? We're the Faceless. And then I did my thing and I was kind of like not super great, because I'm like trying to overly perform or something. So my breath support is not great. It wasn't fantastic or whatever, but that was another situation where I was really bummed out because I had gotten another call back, and especially like on something that I wasn't used to, like doing drums. I was doing vocals, and I was like, holy shit, these guys actually think that this is good. Like, um, and yeah, so it didn't work out, and they got Derek back, and they did Planetary Duality. And listening back to that, I'm like, man, I don't even know what the fuck it would have been like for 18, 19-year-old me to jump into that band with such complex material. And would I also
Mm-hmm.
like even, appreciate it the same way years after the fact, like listening back and being like, oh, that's me, and these are all the struggles I had, and this is like the, blah blah blah. It was just, but it would have been crazy to be like, that was me on an album that is very much, held
The
in high
staple.
esteem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I thought it's like like urban legend or something, but it's actually true. I can't even imagine you doing the vocals, but I know that you have your side project.
Yeah, it's me and a former bandmate of mine. I was in a band called Karen Page out of Ohio, and this was years before, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like doing anything professional. It was kind of like my first steps into the professional realm. But like, we were on this record label called Rotten Records, which had Acid Bath back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and they have uh what is it called? Dog Fashion Disco, or not, sorry, it's not those guys. Polka Dot Cadaver. It's like it's the
Mm-hmm.
same guys or something, but it's different bands. And so anyway, yeah, the former member of that band, we did a couple bands together, and did this band called Infestuous. It was originally called Cryptic Abuse, and this is now just about to see the light of day after almost literally 15 years. Like, I recorded the drums when I was 21, 22, and yeah, just like, it got shelved for many, many years, and we finally, during the pandemic, decided to really actually finish it up. And so I went down there to his house. He lives in Ohio, and I went and wrote lyrics for everything, and kind of did like the vocal patterning, and that was very interesting, as somebody who's not super experienced with like
Mm-hmm.
writing vocals. But I recorded 3 tracks, he recorded 4. So we split the duties of vocals on this, and that album should be coming out probably in the fall of this year, maybe winter.
Wow.
Yeah,
All of
so
these years, like a few months away. So right now it's April. Happy
right,
Easter, actually.
we'll be
Yeah.
figuring out what's going on with the pressings and the timelines and stuff very shortly, but I'm hoping that it'll be fall or winter. So when I was recording with him, we did it at his house, and it had been years and years since I tried out for the Faceless, so this was really
Uh-huh.
my actual first time in, like, almost 10 years or something, if not more, um really trying to perform and record the parts and stuff. So we just, yeah, recorded it, you know at
Mm-hmm.
his house, and it was just kind of like pieced together for some things. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie and say that I'm like 100% show ready for anything, but I can still make the voice. It's really just about like verses, being in a live environment and having to go from
Mm-hmm.
start to finish with all the breath support and shit. And I never wanted to be like a vocalist in this band. I just did it because it's only the two of us, and we didn't have anybody else involved. So it was like, well, we need vocals, we need to get this done. And I had demoed out a song that I really liked from that album, and I did vocals to it. And eventually, once we, decided that we were going to do it again, I sent it to him, and I was like, yeah, I already kind of came up with some
Mm-hmm.
shit for this. And he was like, yeah, you should contribute to the album. Like, that would be cool. And so yeah, that's kind of how it went out.
Can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I can't
Like,
wait to show it to people. It's been
yeah.
too long.
Yeah, I remember because it was when you recorded the EVERBLACK playthroughs, like the GOAT of Departure. I
Oh,
remember at
yeah.
the same time you were doing those cryptic abuse. I'm like, and I was remember back then in 2000, like 14, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this guy is gonna level the band up for sure. With it was just crazy to watch those kind of like videos back then, and I was thinking, oh, this that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
thanks, man.
crazy. Everyone knows the story about the Abigail, right? The call, like the two auditions. Um, there's no need. I think I don't know. There's no need to repeat the same thing over and over again, right? I've got a question about the audition. I remember you were saying that there were like two of them, but do you know if there's anybody else from like maybe prominent drummers that was like auditioned besides you? Do you know the people who did it?
Oh, for like Dahlia?
Yeah, for like Dahlia gig.
Dude, yeah, there was there was quite a roster of drummers, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to remember all of them, but I think like Patrice Hamlin, I think that's the right
Mm-hmm.
last name. He played in a Canadian band called Martyr. He was one of the guys. There was damn, who else? I'm hoping I'm not also confusing drummers that had tried out in the past before with
Ah,
like
it's okay. You can tell their names. It's fine.
I know that God, and I'm gonna sound like a total poser, but the drummer from Suffocation Pierced from Within,
Ah, okay.
he tried out, but I again I don't remember if that was at that time or if that was another audition
Mm-hmm.
period, but yeah, there was him. Man, who else was there? Eric Marotti actually had tried out
He did it too.
for
Oh.
yeah for Dahlia as well, and yeah, so there was a good number of drummers that uh applied, and it just dude it further added to my anxiety of just being like a nobody and
Mm-hmm.
getting the audition with the band because I was just like, oh my God, like how can I possibly stand out amongst these people who are, super talented, but also some of them have like a really big catalog of shit
Mm-hmm.
or just at least have contributed to, metal in some really important way. And it was weird, but like I said, I had to kind of just put those mental blinders on and really just be like, all right, it's just you and these guys and same thing with everything else that happened. It was just like you're here, you're doing it, so just do it and
Yeah.
don't think too much about it because like you'll psych yourself out very easily, thinking about this type of stuff.
And yeah, and like everything panned out at the in the long run, right? It's
Yeah.
just good. They kind of also like probably were like stressed out. Okay, like the new guy doesn't have like a lot of catalog behind him, but he played with Abigail. I don't know. What maybe it was a gamble for them. I can't decide. I don't know for the band, but yeah, everything worked out, and I'm just like so happy that guys, everything fell into place.
Yeah,
So
me too,
that's.
man. I mean, it was seriously just so bizarre because there was multiple steps to having
Mm-hmm.
to getting to this point. It was like getting the offer, then going home, then recording the tryout material that they wanted, then going out for an in-person audition, then uh getting the offer to do the tour and going out and actually performing with them, and then I got the offer to record EVERBLACK in the midst of that tour, and
Mm-hmm.
then recording EVERBLACK, and then by my first European tour that I was going to do with them, which would have been the second tour that I did
Mm-hmm.
with them. That's when they were like, okay, well, do you want to join full time? And yeah, it was just unbelievable because every step of the way, or at least in the audition process before like doing the first tour, I was just kind of like, dude, I can't even lie to myself that like this is actually going to pan out because they know so many people. They have like the entire world at their fingertips to like
Mm-hmm.
select from. And I was just kind of like, it's really cool that I'm getting humored with this, or at least like the opportunity. But it wouldn't surprise me if before I'm even done with these audition videos that they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
like have a guy already lined up like, nope, we got him, like we don't need you anymore, like sorry. But it was every step that I was clearing, I was just like, what? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still going? I'm still in the running? Like, what the fuck?
I was supposed to lose,
Yeah,
right?
or I was just like, I was totally prepared to lose, and it was just kind of like, hey, it's the way that shit goes. But yeah, it was just like I said, had to put the blinders on, had to not
Yeah.
think too hard about it because it was so fucking like surreal to keep clearing the hurdles.
Yeah, and it's a good mindset, like because it would, if you put all the eggs in that basket, it would break you in the long run. It would probably feel like so depressed if they said no, right?
Yeah, a
It would
hundred
be like
percent.
devastating. But
I
yeah,
was set for
yeah.
disappointment from the first moment.
But you got it, you got it. And
Yeah.
also, yeah, since you started talking about like Everblack, what was your mindset when recording actually the album?
So getting to go do the album was an amazing, situation to be asked to do.
Mm-hmm,
And I just remember they gave me all the demos, in the middle of the tour, and I was listening to them, but obviously I didn't have any time to actually sit behind a kit and do anything. So when I would go home, or when I went home from the tour, I was literally playing for about like 8 to 10 hours a day, trying to learn the demos the way that they had programmed them, and then having to keep the previous songs under my belt
mm-hmm,
to be able to do it in the studio. In one sense, it was great to have everything like laid out and ready to go, but in the other, it was a little bit of a bummer because I wanted to contribute more to the album. I wanted to put my
mm-hmm,
flair on it, my style, all that stuff. And just the way the material was written and the demos were done and everything, it didn't feel like there was a whole lot to add on top of anything. Like
mm-hmm.
it felt like whatever I was gonna do was gonna be
Unnecessary?
unnecessary. Yes,
Mm-hmm,
absolutely. And so I kind of felt like a human drum machine on that album because I was really just fulfilling the bare minimum requirements
mm-hmm,
of it. And like it's not to say that the parts or anything or the demos weren't like done well or something. It was just kind of like, again, as somebody who gravitates to overplayers and as somebody who likes to overplay, I felt like, wow, I'm just really like doing
what I'm
hardly
told.
anything. Exactly. Just what I'm told, that's it. And so it made it, a little bit easier in the studio, which was kind of nice because that was also intimidating as hell to be in the studio and have like Bart, the ex bass player, be engineering me along with Mark Lewis. Well, actually, shit, was Bart really part of that? I think it was really like it was Mark Lewis and Al Levy, who does his own recording like workshops and stuff online and whatever.
Like the
But
guy with the beard, right?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
and yeah, from Doth, and
Mm-hmm,
so yeah, it was a little bit intimidating to be in the studio for the first time and kind of like having everybody sit there and like listen to your parts, and especially Brian's in there, he's listening to it, making sure that like everything's coming out the way that he wants it to, and different level of
mm-hmm.
analyzing where it's not just you're at a show or you're playing a huge tour. Like, I mean, that's important as well, but it's like, okay, now this is different material and this is under the microscope of a million different microphones and paying for studio time and shit. But that was another one of those scenarios where you just put the blinders on.
Blinders.
Yeah, and just go for it. Don't really overthink it. And that song that we did, I've talked about it in a few different interviews, but that song Seppuku, that was a bonus track for
Mm-hmm.
Japan. That was one that kind of got decided as a bonus track like toward the ending of like recording that album, and that was one that I felt like I got to do the most of what I'm capable of and what I wanted to add to it. But like, it was a bummer to see that it was a bonus track
Bonus track.
because nobody's gonna hear that, or at least like not too many people are gonna hear it. And
Mm-hmm.
and then as my debut, it's like shit, like everybody's gonna be like, okay, well, what's this guy bringing to the table? And it's like, oh, virtually nothing. Like, well, what's the fucking point? And I was kind of like, you don't understand, and but it was a cool learning experience. It was fun to also be able to like go in there and know that you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do well. Like it's not like the bar is set like a notch or two higher than what you're able to
Mm-hmm.
provide. It's like, no, you're definitely gonna clear this like easily. And so I was like, okay, cool. If I can steady foundation to this, then fantastic. And I'm not gonna, worry too much about it. But yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was still just sort of like Shit, I wish I had a little bit more to offer to this.
Well, you probably had more to offer with the next album, right?
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
yeah, and with Seppuku, I have like my own assumption why it didn't like make it to to the album because it's kind of like kind of doesn't like there's like a different vibe to it, you know. I felt like it could be like on Arch Enemy album. Why didn't it make it?
I think you're right. I think it really was just a little bit of an odd man out sort of
Mm-hmm.
song. Like it was good, but it just wasn't gonna meld with every other
Mm-hmm.
song on the album like entirely. And I'm sure it could have, because like Blood Mine, I think is such a close um
Yeah.
idea or melodic idea to what that song was. And I think it really came down to kind of like being a little bit not as fitting, but also needing the bonus material. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
to provide at least three bonus tracks for like contractual obligations of like, hey, Europe gets two bonus tracks and Japan gets its own separate bonus track. And I think that just kind of helped fill the quota. I think that's just kind of how or why it panned out that way.
It's I don't know. It's one of my favorite tracks as well. You know, it's good to revisit it sometimes, you know, like when and seeing that the band is just like in Verminous, you know, like the band is able to do something more than just like blast skanks and double bass. They can be more creative, I would say, right? Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
which is good. Yeah, which is I don't know. Love this track. Do you revisit actually the albums that you recorded? That's the question.
I do every so often. What did this sound like? What are my thoughts on it now, versus back then? And because it's interesting to listen to things through the ears of like other people, especially because it's been 10 years at this point for sure. Yeah, 12. I mean,
12 years, Jesus Christ.
yeah, right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But it's very interesting to go back and listen to it, and especially when everybody now I'm noticing is really, loving that album. And when it came out, I don't think that it had like as much positive review
Mm-hmm.
to it, like it was just kind of well, they didn't drop the ball, so that's great. And it was like, well,
I
I
don't
hope you'd
know.
have a little bit more to say than just they didn't drop the ball. So yeah, going back to that album, dude, one of the things I really don't like about that album is the fucking drum tones. I just cannot get behind those drum tones.
What
Like
exactly is it? Is it like all the drum set or the cymbals? What annoys you the most?
I think it's the entire kit. Like we sampled every single drum naturally,
Mm-hmm.
did the various, like if you were gonna do like tune track or something like that, it's like, all right, 127 velocity, like hit,
Mm-hmm.
and then bring it down a little bit, and then bring it down a little bit more, and then bring it down a little bit more, and do like, 10 to 15 hits of every one of those. And even though it was natural, it still sounded really weird to me to hear this
Mm-hmm.
like natural kit and kind of having like everything 127 on that. And for instance, I don't know, I mean the intro of every Ripple News, it's just like and it's just the drums. I don't know, it just sounds like it is kind of each drum is
Mm-hmm.
individually recorded. And when we uh did the album, we I think sampled and put and hit replaced certain parts of it
Mm-hmm.
with those sampled drums. And so it's like natural, but it's not 100% because you're
Yeah.
getting 127 velocity on that. And for anybody who's not a drummer or whatever, like 127 is like maxed out, like hitting it as hard as you absolutely can, and it's the only drum that you're hitting as hard as you can. So that's what all the hits are supposed to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
There was some naturality or whatever to it, and there was other issues too, where it was kind of like we were editing right at the end of the mixing
Mm-hmm.
phase, and there was stuff that I was like, wait a second, this didn't get fixed yet. AL had to go back in and like listen to it, edit it, do something,
Mm-hmm.
but it was kind of a last second
Mm-hmm.
sort of editing, and that shouldn't have been the case, only because like this was it was finished like months beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So the editing should have been there, and there should have only been like, I don't know, very
Yeah.
limited light things to take care of. But yeah, it was kind of a clusterfuck, and I wasn't too stoked about that. Especially not on my debut album, but I was sort of like, I was young, and it was my first album with the guys, and so I didn't really know how things went. I didn't really know what to expect, or how to deal with it, and I just kind of chalked it up to just not knowing enough about the process.
Mm-hmm.
And but it just tonally was not my favorite album. I also, man, really did not like the snare. Like, I am, if there's gonna be anything that I'm particular on in the kit, it's gonna be the snare drum. Like, that is the focus point for me as a
Mm-hmm.
drummer. And it felt like a very sort of flat snare, or like sort of a wet paper bag sort of sound. And it didn't have any character. Like, even listening back to like Shannon's drums, it's like, dude, you're always hearing that bell brass Tama, or not the bell brass. It was just a, was it a copper? Might have been a copper. Because we were he did
Mm-hmm.
not have, or at least like, I was not using the coveted, Thomas snare
Mm-hmm.
drum, which we still have, by the way. But like, yeah, there's a characteristic to those other albums that have that snare tone and stuff like that, and to kind of also be new to the fold and not really get an opportunity to decide like, hey, this is what I want out of
Mm-hmm.
the sound of the drums. It's like, no, you're in here to make sure that this all just sounds Dahlia, and we're gonna produce it that way. It was sort of like, man, there's just decisions here that I wouldn't have agreed with, back
Mm-hmm.
then.
My perspective as a fan, if you like, if you will, I think these album among your like discography, I think personally, I think it stood out because it's just, for example, take Goat of Departure. The even right, if you even if you think that you're like not satisfied with the drum sound, but the like the way you play is just overshadows it. For example, with Goat again, cymbal hits. I thought like back then it was like fucking mind blowing how he every da 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 and he repeats it with every cymbal. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. And it's
Thanks, man.
with every single song. And even when I like revisited the Blast Fiends, or the Reddit, they are saying that like it's up there. Like Alan Cassidy catalog, it's like number one, number two, or number three, it's usually. But they're not so many, but still it's like up there. And
Well,
I totally agree. It's like an amazing album. You guys don't have a bad album. Like never do. Like I'm sorry
thank
I'm
you.
glazing,
No, no,
but
no. I mean,
but yeah.
it's really cool to hear that outside perspective, because, as the person who did the album, it's
Mhm.
hard for me to think of it or hear it in any other different way, and I have to challenge myself to think outside of, not only the memories of
Mhm.
recording the stuff and knowing what I know, and doing what I did, but it's just like, it's really cool to hear people's appreciation of the material that I was so um in the midst of, and we'll never
Mhm.
hear it the way that anyone else hears it. And I still kind of like sometimes wonder if certain things that I did on certain albums are the best that it could have came out, like, in terms of I have a habit of accentuating guitar riffs
Mhm.
like to a T, and
Mhm.
when you're be like, you know, like, is that too much? I don't know, but that was like what I wanted to offer or what I felt. And is it reflective of the way that I feel now or the way that I hear things now? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, did I grow? Did anything
Hmm.
that I did, like, was it not what I would do now or feel differently about, you know? So
If you did it that way, like just without accentuation on the riff itself wouldn't be as cool personally.
thank you.
Maybe I'm wrong, but just that's how I feel. Uh, thank you for the insight. It's like, I don't know, it's like music to my ears to just hear something, else about the albums I just love, cherish, that the albums that are associated with the like certain periods of time, not only with me, but with a lot of people. Yeah, it's thank you for these like insights. And also the Abysmal, right? These album. Um, I wanted. There's like the article with Trevor, and Trevor was speaking a lot about it. That it like had a different mix, right? It had like a different raw mix, and the label or Slagle, I don't know who was it. He didn't like it. So how do you feel about that? Like, do you actually have this mix? Is it like somewhere? Do you have it?
So, man,
Hmm.
you know, going back to that point, it's hard to remember
Hmm.
exactly. I may or may not have rough mixes of that album. It's hard to
Hmm.
say. I have a couple of different hard drives filled with crap, but
Hmm.
yeah, so like I sort of remember being or hearing all the different mixes are different, quote unquote. But I really
Okay.
don't believe that like the mix changed all that much from the, you know, presented version to the uh actual
Final.
release. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just kind of like it was raw. It was more or less what you hear, but I think that like there's a little bit of God, I can't even say whether or not there was like sound replace stuff, you know,
Hmm.
like sampled drums that just got put on top of the or like the actual sampled kit put on top of the drums the way that like Everblack was. Uh but I do remember like I was talking to Mark Lewis and we hung out for a couple of days. I think it was because we were sort of finishing mixing or something like that. We ended up going and driving down to Chicago to go see the Decibel tour at that time, which
Hmm.
had Converge on it, and it was like, oh, Convergent at the gates. And so we listened to that album or some of the tracks on the way down there, and then listened to some of them on the way back. And I remember talking to him, being like, "Hey, man, I think the drums need to be a little bit louder on this." And he was like, "You know what? You're right, but nobody else needs to know this." Because it was I think the drums were kind of the issue with the mix, you know, like it was just not as pummeling,
Accentuated.
yeah, and
Hmm.
accentuated as what they were expecting or thinking of. And so yeah, I think like the drums got bumped up just like a hair or two. Then, you know, for the most part though, like I think it was the same tones and everything. And I think maybe bumping up the drums might have actually kind of convinced them of like, you know, it working, because it's like
Hmm.
the drums are the most physically like uh deciding factor of the material, because it's like if you're not either sound replacing or having a drummer that just has like hammers for hands,
With
you're not
127, right?
exactly, you're not going to get the tones that you want out of final product. And but it's always been a struggle for uh Dahlia, I think, us as a band that really cared about the material and the way that everything sounds. It's we've always kind of wanted to have a natural approach to things, and whether that be like not falling in line with what modern productions
Mm-hmm.
have been offering throughout that year or years before or whatever. It's just like we want to have something that sounds like a real band, like and Mark, I think, still attests to this day of being like, dude, be real, like actually present your parts and really like if you want to have super punchy drums, then record it that way, and if you have to do like little chunks at a time to just make sure that everything is hammered in the way that you want it, then do that. But don't sit there and um play it like a performance or like tapping drums and shit, and then go in and sound replace everything, because what's the
Mm-hmm.
point of being in the studio at that moment,
Yeah, you
you
just
know?
kind of like click the shit and
Yeah,
like on the grid and the album is ready, right? But
exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
the Abysmal, I think for me, it's the like very natural sounding album. So like it's still raw and
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like you stepped up the game with the songs like Asylum, where you had was it like a gravity there, like with Asylum? Trrr, trrr,
No, it's
was
just a
it?
bomb blast.
Ah, it's a bomb blast.
Yeah.
I feel like there were like a plenty of tracks where where you really challenged yourself. For example, speaking of threat level, I remember I saw like the sick drummer drum cam, and I was thinking, okay, the guy has to play this fucking song every single night. He's probably hating this song so much, but
Oh, I
by the end
loved
of
it,
this,
dude. It was
you loved
great.
it
Yeah, yeah,
because
it was
it's there's so many like little things. Even the intro, you fuck up once, the song is derailed. I don't know,
yeah.
but hearing that you loved it, okay.
My ADHD brain does better with more to remember and more to deal with than it does with less, because it's almost as if like I have to be so focused in the moment
Mm-hmm.
that I will pay more attention and be a lot more on top of things than if it's kind of autopilot and it's like, oh, what repetition is this again? It's like there is none of that. It's really just like you got to remember every single little thing that happens in this, you know?
Absolutely diabolical, especially the I don't know how I would crumble there if I had to like play even that song, like especially like the part where there's double bass before the last chorus, where you have to play for how many, like 60 bars of just like double bass, like
Yeah.
like with the tremolo. Crazy. I
Dude, I lost so much weight getting ready for that tour where we started playing that, because like I had to drill that whole long section of running uh to make sure that not only did I have the stamina to do it, but I also was like remembering all the little details of the hands and stuff, and you can't really coordinate that if you're not doing at least a slowed down version of it, the feet, like it's a whole different ball game when you
mhm.
start pushing, or when you're pushing at that tempo and you have to do the hands. So like, dude, I lost probably like 15 pounds or something, like drilling that every fucking day, because it was like an aerobic or what do you call it, like
Cardio.
a cardio workout. Yeah, exactly.
It is. I don't know like how your knees survived it.
Oh
That
man,
like
just gotta have proper technique. That's really it.
yeah, yeah, that's it. We'll talk about the techniques a little bit later. I hope I'm not like taking too much of your
No,
time. We're
dude,
like
I will talk forever. Let's be here all night.
yeah, it's all about you. Yeah. What time is it actually there? Like is it 10 for you?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway,
it's 10.
it's 7 here. So we good. I
We
don't
can
have
edit
like
all this, or you can edit all this down. It doesn't matter to me.
it's gonna be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Especially when we're gonna be watching the like the drum covers. It's like I don't know. I probably gonna take me a month, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, like amazing album. Again, raw in your face. Congrats on it. You
Thank you.
probably love, you don't hate it. Like like hearing what you said about it, you kind of, yeah, there are like couple little things, right? Which is like the volume of the drum set, but other than that, I feel like you like it.
For the most part, like it was, yeah, exactly what I set out to do, and it was
Hmm.
pretty much what I wanted, and I didn't, well, no matter what, like you're never gonna have like a total hand in mixing or
Hmm.
mastering the way that your drums sound or something like that. So you hope that somebody knows how to bring out the best of what you're doing, and that was it came out very good, and but mostly the material, the actual like drumming and stuff on the album was really what I wanted to do, and it was the first time that I was using like Superior Drummer to write the demos. So Everblack, I was using a one channel interface
Hmm.
on my rolling kit, and I was recording the ideas. I mean, like just playing the songs and just kind of having the fills there the way that I
Hmm.
wanted them. And oh my God, that goes back to a very early time in recording where it was sort of like not a lot of people are using MIDI to record and sample drums with and whatnot. And so like having to listen to audio to learn the drum parts was like so difficult because it's constantly
Hmm.
just like, okay, go back like 5 seconds, go back 5 seconds, go back 5 seconds, and try and learn something versus having a superior drummer and being able to program the drums, and
Hmm.
every fill, every beat, everything is like on time. It's exactly the way that you wanted it to sound uh when you were writing the parts. So therefore, you waste no time trying to perfect a fill in the middle of a beat and then adding it to the recorded
Hmm.
audio demo. Like it's like that's way too much, especially when a guitar player goes, I don't like that beat or I don't like that fill. And then you're like, oh, good, I only spent like, 2 hours trying to,
2 years.
yeah, trying to get that down for it to be, taken out.
Hmm. But yeah, it feels like you had with each album you have like more control of, like humanizing the drum parts, or like more control kind of what to play, right? For example, with Nightbringers, was it like that the band was like trusting you more with it
I think
or
it
no?
was it was not so much like trusting as it was
Mm-hmm.
getting acquainted with my style, because
Mm-hmm.
at that point the third album that I recorded, it was basically like, okay, this is what this guy gravitates toward, and this is sort of like what he does. So it was sort of like, okay, we kind of expect to hear this and this, and
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets refined. It gets like, well, maybe not this, but keep that, and then maybe do this the same or do this different or whatever. And yeah, so it was like at that point, them being familiar with my style and with what I like to add to things, and kind of like being okay with incorporating that aspect into it.
Mm-hmm. With Nightbringers, since it was, I don't know, yeah, your third album, and there was like the anniversary of Nocturnal, right? So everyone felt that this album is truly special. I felt that way with the same artwork, right? I mean, this not artwork, the same like artist, right? It was like
Hmm.
Necro Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like how about you? Like, did you feel that you guys were recording something big, something huge, something, just there was like a lot of maybe there was like a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Like what was the situation?
That was a interesting situation because Brandon had just come
Hmm.
into the fold, and that was his first record. And being presented with the material that, he came up with, and kind of trying to again um
Mm-hmm.
find a way to write what it was that I wanted to express in the material was a little bit of a like a situation where it was like, well, what does Brandon feel about this? Like, does he care what I'm adding or
Mm-hmm.
changing to this? And then there was Brian's material, which is more or less the same. It was just kind of one of those like, I know what Brian wants. I just don't know what Brandon wants, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know exactly what I can get away with in the demoing phase, like adding or changing. And yeah, it was a new situation for sure to hear what Brandon was doing, and so I was kind of I think a little bit I was a
Mm-hmm.
little bit unsure about what that album was going to be like because Brandon had such a unique offering of
Mm-hmm.
material and uh it was going to change the sound regardless. And so it was kind of like I just tried my best to do what I wanted to do, give
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted to give, and hope that like the majority of it or whatever it was actually happen. Then when it came out, it was still one of those scenarios of like, yeah, what do the fans think of this? Like what do they want out of this, or what do they care about from this? And then you kind of have to also disconnect yourself from that of
Mm-hmm.
like, you know people are going to have opinions, and especially when it's at that immediate time. Like they're going to judge it at that critical
Mm-hmm.
time or that release, and they have nothing to go off of. It's not a hindsight, sort of scenario. It's very much like this is it right now, and what do you think of it right now?
Mm-hmm.
And but it was cool to get to play what is it, Nightbringers live.
My personal opinion, it has like the best drum tone. It's like you
Yeah,
are up
yeah.
front there. Like I can hear every single thing. I can hear the closed hi-hat on the blast. I can hear like every symbol, which is perfect for me. Like I don't know, personally for me. And everything came into place with this album, like lyrically, instrumentally, like visually. It just is the album that has, like a monolith for me.
Yeah, yeah, it was that was the first album too that I truly felt was like, okay, I am very happy with the way that the drums sound, and like you said, you can hear every cymbal, you can hear every like little nuance and things, and I was so stoked about that because like I wanted to make sure that everything I contributed was very
Mm-hmm.
sonically audible, and yeah, I felt like in the mix, the drums are very carved out in their own space,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't get overlapped by anything. Like it really just has the drums sitting there in the middle with everything around it, and so yeah, like with the material, with the mixing, like I was very stoked about that.
It's I don't know. That's probably the album that I listen the most, and yeah, a lot of good memories are connected to it. Especially when you guys were in Moscow. Actually saw you guys. It was 2019, I think. It was like a small club in Moscow. It was probably the end of your like European leg of the tour. Yeah, and I remember that it was like almost 2 hours of, songs, just crazy. And you guys played the whole album like in entirety, like every single song which means a lot, which means that it's good. You like have no fillers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that you were there at that.
Yeah, I was there, but I was not like confident with my language, like to approach
Oh, okay.
anybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't that good. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm good at like English right now, but I wasn't like at the level. So, and you guys crushed it.
Thank
It
you,
was,
man. Well, you're
yeah.
crushing the English right now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, it's just amazing album. Then comes the Verminous. Another one, right? It's like another album that is, I don't know, like where the experiment like goes to another level, where you guys probably felt like, okay, we proved that we can blast. We can like
Yeah.
do 300 BPM blast with the like double bass and stuff. What is next? And that's what's next. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. And Verminous was another one of those kind of second album with Brandon. So it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, what do we get from this? Like, what do we have that's being presented, and how do we, work with that and stuff? And I
Mm-hmm.
think Nightbringers was a little bit of a we're putting in a different feel to this material, and what do people think of that? Verminous was, I think, even more so. Like we're getting a little bit deeper into different vibes.
Realm,
Yeah,
right?
a different realm of like what Dahlia is. And at that point, again, it's sort of like nobody should be too I don't know, either critical or demanding of something, because it sort of is like we're so deep
Mm-hmm.
into the entire discography of this band that it's sort of like we can't keep delivering the same thing over and over and over and over. And yet there's plenty of people that want that, but it's sort of like, well, like critically, that's going to be super boring, and it's going to um kind of not be fulfilling for us. And so like with Verminous getting that material, I enjoyed it a lot. Like dude, Brandon wrote some really sick shit, like Leather Apron Scorn, Where Worms Feast, and man, I'm trying to think. He had Removal of the Oaken Stake, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but like I was definitely enjoying kind of that curveball of
Mm-hmm.
material, and Brian was holding it down with being the anchor of the band, writing the stuff that sounds most characteristically like Dahlia. But one thing that scared the shit out of me with Verminous was that when we were listening to mixes, the drums at the time sounded so muddy. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like oh, and little bit of a backstory as quick as I
Yeah,
can.
sure.
Um, we had done almost like 2 months of touring. It was
Mm-hmm.
literally like we had a European tour, and that was 30 days, and then we got to the States and had like 2 days or three or something like that to get ready for the next leg that was going to be somewhere around like 2.5 weeks or something like that. And it was we were going out with Meshuggah. And so those were huge shows to worry about. But with the way that our touring schedule uh had been set up, and then the
Mm-hmm.
recording schedule was set up afterward, it was almost everything was back to back. I had 3.5 weeks to get ready for the studio, and like I was finishing demos in the midst of that first leg of the tour, and then like by the second half when we were in the States doing the stuff with Meshuggah, um, I was trying to learn the material while we were out with them, which is just, chaos, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
you only get so much time in a day to have everything set up. And then not only that, but it's like I'm setting up a drum kit on stage, tearing it down, or at least moving it. Then I had to set up my electronic kit, and then get the time and the energy to go through super difficult crap with that, where I'm like, familiarizing myself with it first hand and
Mm-hmm.
actually playing it. And then got home, had 3.5 weeks to actually learn everything. And it was like, dude, I barely had enough time to even go over one song a day,
Mm-hmm.
to like learn it and then like get ready. And all this material is just like getting more and more dense, more and more detailed. And it's like, dude, this isn't Everblack. This isn't like the most basic thing that I could do and then show up to the studio. It's like, no, I'm like adding way more than has ever been included in a Dahlia album. So I was really burning the candle at both ends. And when I got into the studio, I was tracking as much as I knew when I knew it. And then I had to bring my electronic kit in, set it up behind me,
Mm-hmm.
and do like a 180 on my throne, turn around and go over parts or learn things that I didn't
Jesus.
know. Yeah, on my
That's like
electronic
a
kit.
crunch. It's a crunch culture,
Dude,
kind
it
of thing.
is. Especially when you're paying, per day to be in a studio and it's just kind of like uh it wasn't ideal and it wasn't exactly what we had planned, but it just kind of ended up
Mhm.
being that way. And then to also deal with the situation of like, hey, if you play on your uh kit in the studio, you're gonna whack everything out of tune and everything's gonna have to be fine-tuned again to make sure that it's all consistent with the tuning of the album. So the electronic kit helped, but it was just like that was such a huge ordeal to be, forced to deal with. It was
Mhm.
just kind of like, holy shit, like I don't know everything I'm supposed to know, and I'm just gonna have to make the best of it. And so that was the most like grueling process of recording an album. And in the end, it ended up being exactly what I wanted it to be. I even like freaked out in the studio and went to Bart, who was engineering, and I
Mhm.
was like, I'm scared that this is going to be so Frankenstein together. And by that, I mean like it's going to be recorded so finely where it's like, here's 5 seconds, here's 3 seconds, here's, 1 second, like whatever. And it's gonna sound like a mess, like
Or
nothing is gonna,
uneven, right?
yeah, or
Like,
uneven. Yeah, especially with the energy, because you have to come into recording with a certain amount of energy. And if you're, starting to taper down and be like tired, you're gonna hear that in the recording. So I was worried as hell about the way that that was going to come out, and we comped everything together, and it ended up sounding fine. I was like, okay, you've restored my faith in being here right now and recording this. But like, yeah, it was grueling again. But
mhm.
but we made it through, and then and then after all of that just difficulty and exhaustion put into it, the mixes were coming back sounding so muddy, and I was just like, oh my God. So I was writing up notes being
Mhm.
like, turn this up, turn this up, turn this up, turn this up. There was like 30 notes per,
Wow.
like
Per
per song to be like, deal with this, make it audible. And it's still, in the end of it, wasn't coming out right. And I was so scared that like I had just basically wasted all my time adding all this detail and effort into the recording that it wasn't going to actually be heard. And I have never experienced this or even heard about it before, but like, dude, once we got the masters back, um, it was like everything that I was concerned about was now at a level of audibility that I had never heard
mhm.
it before. And I was just like, holy shit, it's all there. It's like every little nuance, every little like, thing that I put in
Mhm.
is like audible. So thank God, because I was thinking I was gonna have to like release some drum playthroughs that were just basically like, you
Something
know,
different, right?
or just
That's
showing people what I had done because they wouldn't be able to hear it. It would just all be like lost in the mix. And so yeah, it was like, thank God the mastering saved it and it made it exactly what I wanted out of it. It's
mhm.
very unique and different the way that that album sounds, and especially drum tones. I've never heard anything like it before. But ultimately it had all my parts represented fully and audibly, and I was, okay with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like yeah, the heavy parts sound heavy, like take godlessly. They like
Yeah.
heavy, accentuated. You can hear everything. The groovy parts sound groovy. Like it
Yeah,
it
and that's
sounds
all I wanted.
stupid, but yeah, there's a good balance of everything. But as you said, it was probably the hard time for the band, you know, like and then from what I heard, there was like the schedule issue with like the release, like the album release schedule, because it was supposed to be what, earlier or later,
I
but
think it
then
was
you got
supposed to be a little bit earlier. Yeah.
and then yeah, and then you just like decided to like postpone it due to COVID. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the long run it worked out, and you had like good sales in it, and yeah, most people liked it. Like people who just like don't like the change in the band, there will also be that group of people. It's catch 22. You can't like release, as you said, you can't release the same album. You can't release Nocturnal over and over again because people will say, "Oh, where's the growth?" And
There is
like
a big base, a big fan base that would love to hear Nocturnal
two.
version
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, and at the same time, but yeah, these kind of people, they would hear Nocturnal Part 3 and they were like, "Where's the growth?" I'm like so
Yeah,
tired. Like
yeah.
they released the same album and
Hmm.
you can't fucking play this game.
No,
Uh
I've been joking that like we should just release an entire folder of stems and literally just be like, you
you guys mix it.
assemble, yeah, you assemble the riffs, you mix it, you make your own Dahlia album, and then everybody can release 100 different Dahlia albums that are exactly what they want.
Yeah, that's in, like in alternative universe somewhere probably
Yeah,
will
dude,
happen.
I don't know, man. Like with everything the way that it is, it's almost like the choose your own adventure book of like
Mm-hmm.
making an album could be a thing in the future.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes with like extracting parts right now with what is it, Moises app, where you can like
Yeah,
do what where you can actually like extract the stems. Who knows?
exactly.
Like
And then
those who want to do it, just do it, okay?
they just write their own riffs. They're like, I didn't like that riff, so I replaced it with this, and then
Yeah.
put this one over here, and yeah, and then it'll be like, all right, everybody gets their own favorite album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you can't like, you know, give everybody what they want. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. As I said, there's no like bad Dali album. This one was like experimentation. You don't like it? Wait for a new one. Why not?
Yeah, for real. It's like, I mean, at a certain point, I think everybody has to kind of just be like, "Hey, man, this is what the author wanted, or this is what the writer wanted of the material, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to accept that, whether or not it's what you like. It is what it is, and we want to write stuff that we like. We want to write stuff that our fans are going to like, but at the same time, it's kind of like that is the magic behind the thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't go and see a movie and I know that everybody can tear a movie apart and be like, well, it should have had this, it should have explained that, blah blah blah. But it's kind of like, we have control over our creative ideas, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not like we're forced to do anything that we don't like or that we don't want. And it's sort of like you're gonna have to accept that that is what it is, and that's what the uh people who wrote it wanted
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And if you don't like that, then like you said, wait for the next album or
Yeah,
something.
which was Servitude, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that it's basically, the album that doesn't like overstates welcome, very stacked, bum bum bum. Like you listen to the thing, you want more, you re-listen to it. I re-listened to it probably already like 40 times. I don't know. It took me like with these album, like I don't know, kind of first, like honestly, first when I like listened to the album, I thought, okay, these are like good songs. I don't remember like a single one because they like kind of, I don't know, there's no like a standout thing, like standout hit. But then when I returned to it, I thought like let me give it another chance. Let me give it another listen. And I thought, Okay, so there's like the first track, right? It just has so much like cymbal work. The second track, which is another like banger, right? What else would I need? That's like my perfect Dahlia album. Like if I don't want like Dahlia to experiment, right? And then like after third, fourth listen, well, actually, yeah, it's like an amazing album. Especially, and you could see like so much stuff behind it, especially with your like cymbal work there, you know, like so many accents again, so many things. I don't know, and I like probably again my second album that I no, actually like Nightbringers is the second album that I like return to the most. Servitude is like grew on me, I would say. Like I hope you don't mind like my, my perspective as a fan of the band, like on the album.
No, it's again, it's interesting to hear everybody's
Hmm.
I ideas or
Hmm.
response to the material because like honestly, I kept telling everybody when we were writing Servitude, I was like, it is I think like my favorite Dahlia material we've ever done, and at that point we had introduced so many curveball
Hmm.
ideas to the material that I was like, okay, we're very flexible at this moment
Hmm.
to introduce new types of material that we haven't done before, and I don't think anybody should be shocked to hear something that they didn't expect anymore, and having three writers on the album, having Brandon do three songs, Brian do three songs, and Ryan do three songs,
Hmm.
it was obviously a mix of ideas, and it was a mix of just what their influences were and where they were at and stuff, and but I still felt that like it was some of our strongest material to offer, and
Hmm.
it just was so unique, and to have Ryan back and to hear his offerings in the Dahlia discography again, it was really cool. And I also felt like when you were talking about like, well, there's a lot of things that like blend together and stuff. I was like, man, I don't know, because Ryan's, like Mammoth's Hand was such like unique song to the discography
Yeah,
for the fact that
speaking of the slower songs, yeah, they like stand out. Absolutely. Yes, as I said, it's just, we in the time when we just like the way that we consume music is like way different right now. You just
yeah.
listen to it one time, okay, you make quick judgments. Your
Yeah.
judgments right now are so much quicker than before. So yeah, and like especially after COVID, when everyone's like, attention span is so much shorter, and people
Yes.
just make the assumption about the album without like giving the album the second chance, which
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, was just like a grave mistake for like a lot of people who just like listened to it once and just like made their opinion. And then, yes, as I gave it like third spin, fourth spin, because, I like really love this band and I just like, okay, but yeah, it's good. Like even the songs that like are on the slower spectrum, they have like the part that I like really enjoy that I like, look forward to like listening to. So yeah, and then I realized, okay, those are the songs that are, each one is the perfect, like has its perfect space in the album, has its perfect pace. I don't know. Yeah, it's this one is in my top three right now, like of all the Dahlia albums, and I feel
Oh,
like it
thanks, man.
it gives me the Deflorate vibe. I feel like with Deflorate, people also like back in 2009, they just listened to, I don't know what happened with it. It's like for me, it's such a mystery that like this album is so overlooked, but I love it. It's like also in my top three. So I feel like these it just tense. It's like it's punchy. It has it all. It has your speed. It has okay, you are tired of speed. It's got your groove, which is has like Mammoth's Head, Hand, Worth, Cursed Creator, like those perfect songs. Yes, and I don't know. I it really grew on me, and I recommend to those people who just like rushed on their opinion about the album, I just recommend to listen to it one more time. Yeah, it's because it's amazing album. Yeah,
Yeah, and
and
we'll see what it turns into in another album or two. Like people might go back and be like, "Oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever heard," or it's like,
yeah,
"Well, it's just whatever, something." But we kind of always, or at least what I've noticed since Everblack, it goes through its phases where it's like, this is whatever to, hey, maybe this is an unsung album, like, in terms of critical appreciation, and then other people are like, no, this is like one of the cornerstone albums,
yeah.
and yeah, so it's like, again, time will tell.
Time will tell. Yes, and how did it, like with Brian taking over? When you heard the first mixes and everything, how did you feel? Like what was?
I really enjoyed,
Mm-hmm.
hearing it, and it's like, man, there are moments where Brian absolutely captures the feel and the
Mm-hmm.
characteristics of like what Trevor did, and there are times when I feel like I almost think it is Trevor uh in the way that the material is recorded, because it's like, yes, this is exactly the type of
Mm-hmm.
thing that Trevor would have done, and and so, like, also I think everybody kind of having a hand in suggesting things for the vocals, whether it was like the patterning or the lyrics or whatever, it all lended to making it a Dahlia product that
Mm-hmm.
really fits in with our discography as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so Brian, reading his lyrics, listening to the patterning, listening to the way that he um decided to do highs and lows and different points and stuff like that, it was really surreal to kind of be like, man, we're doing this without Trevor for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but yet this is just feeling so comfortable in the way that the material is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it was, I mean, and putting myself back in that time frame of like writing that material, and especially so, shortly after Trevor had passed, it was I felt definitely one way about it at a certain
Mm-hmm.
point, and it was just basically like, hey, this is different. But I think throughout the entire situation of writing the album, it ended up feeling very characteristic, very like comfortable, very like
Mm-hmm.
uh you know I we can, or I can stand behind this and really feel as a fan that this is providing exactly what we would hope to
Mm-hmm.
achieve out of writing an album without him.
Yeah, it's when I heard Aftermath, I was also, as you said, I was just blown away by the lows of Brian. I thought, okay, how is it really like could it be like Trevor's demo? Because I really thought that it was like so close. Uh and when I heard these, like the first single, I thought, okay, so we are in good hands. We're good. And like the
Yeah.
response was also very good from what I remember. And the response to the album as well. So far, it's really good. Uh yeah, and they like the tours show, people come, people just, like the Santa Cruz show was like fucking packed as you said. It's just like nobody everyone like gives you guys the constant support and we like are behind you guys.
Well,
And
thank you. I mean, and
yeah.
thanks to all the fans, to be honest, because we were in a difficult spot, and you know everyone was grieving. It was like we were grieving, the
Mhm.
fans were grieving. It was just like, man, this is going to be so difficult to um provide, the ideas that we have developed over all these years, and this
Mhm.
characteristic of like what everybody expects from us and stuff. And for everyone to be as supportive as they were for that new material, it was overwhelming just how positive the response to not only the singles but the album and the live performances and stuff. Like everybody was just so open to it in
Mm-hmm.
a way that like I would have never expected. And even like looking at the comments on just about every news outlet that released a single or released uh just a critique of something or whatever. It was like everybody was so positive. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like thank you so much, like for understanding what we're going through and what we're trying to give to you and what we're trying to accomplish with this. And yes, it will never be what Trevor, could have provided for an album, but it's like if we're gonna keep it going, like we're just extremely happy that everyone
Mm-hmm.
feels satisfied more or less with what's happening and at least is approaching it with an open mind, you know?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and the sales show like all these when the album dropped, like the vinyls, they got sold out like immediately. I remember I got my copy, and just I got it, and like the Amazon got like the wrong vinyl for me. It was like I think it was Dua Lipa's album or
No
Madonna's like
way.
yeah, I
That's
think
funny.
it was Madonna's album, like the greatest hits. And I had to send it back and like I sent it back, like bought this album again and I got like again like Madonna's album for some reason again like two times. Two times I got like Madonna's vinyl and the third time I'm like fuck it. I just sent it back and I went to Amazon and like it was sold out. Like the version that I wanted. So
Oh yeah.
you snooze, you lose, right? Or you got
That's
the
so weird. I mean, like I don't even know how they could accidentally mix up anything. Like I
yeah,
don't
but
know of
yeah,
a
I got my
title that's
copy.
similar.
I got it on tour. So, and actually, how do you feel? Do you feel tired? Do you want to like,
No, 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 we can keep going. Yeah,
do
yeah.
you want to like watch the covers now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah, it's time to pick the winner for the signed version, Servitude, right? Let me put it like this.
Yeah, yeah. True goatee
So
style.
yeah, the tour variant, which is Cursed Creator. Let's find the new owner. Let's do it. That's what we got. We got one, two aftermaths.
Okay.
We got the seppuku. We
Ooh,
got the
fun.
yeah, we got their beloved absentee Widowmaker. We got jars. We also I think we got the what should we call it? Mammoth's head. Um, we got jars. We got goat of departure. We got matriarch. We don't have to watch all of them today. So
Sure, yeah, yeah.
because it's gonna be exhausting. I'll send you the file with all the contestants,
Okay.
and then you pick one. We announce it, and by the time the video is released, bam, we're good to go. We have aftermath actually, which is also
Okay,
the
yeah.
recent one.
Yeah, that's
Do you
real
want
nuts.
to see one on the e drums or the acoustic ones?
Um, Surprise me. I don't
Surprise.
have a preference.
Okay, let's do acoustic one. Like we'll do a minute of each, okay? And
Okay. Yeah.
whenever you feel like okay, I need to comment, just comment.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So anything to comment so far?
Dude, he's done it the closest I've seen for a lot of different, well, for a small handful actually of covers that I've seen in my stuff. And
Oh, come
yeah.
on, it's not that bad. I found like I unearthed a bunch of good ones.
I guess
Okay,
I've never looked up covers of my stuff. So yeah,
so
but
you
like
should.
so far
Okay,
this is definitely crushing it.
anything that he plays differently, anything that you.
I don't think so. I think like honestly, he's following what I was doing pretty closely, and I wasn't paying super specific attention, but it looks like he might have done the same thing that I was doing, which is
With the symbol, right? With the right, ta 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 ta.
well, and the economy blasting where he's alternating feet and then he switches to the single to get over to the pedal,
Mm-hmm.
or to the hi-hat, which is what I also do.
Okay, so he's nailing it so far. Okay, let's continue. And that's it.
Damn,
So,
dude.
so what do you
Uh,
think? Like, was it 100% precise?
if I'm gonna be ultra critical, there
Yeah,
was
let's be ultra critical. That's why
um
we're here. Yeah.
just quit life, bro. Just quit life now. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No. Like honestly, there was just a
Hmm.
couple of extra like cymbal hits and maybe some rolls that
Hmm.
like weren't there, but honestly, I thought it was super tight and
Hmm.
he was definitely, uh crushing it the way that it is supposed to be, or it,
Supposed to be.
it sounds exactly, yeah, what you would expect from the cover.
Okay, that's like the biggest praise that you can get, from the person who, made the song himself,
Yeah,
which is
good job,
the
Mike. That was awesome.
okay.
Jars or goat? Nice.
Okay. So,
So far, I love the mix of the drums.
uh-huh.
Drums sound fantastic, and yeah, this is a very involved song. There's a lot of details and stuff, and yeah, I could tell that he's taken,
It
time to,
seriously.
yeah, he's definitely following what's going on there and not just ad-libbing whatever he wants to do. Yeah,
Okay,
as far
let's
as I can remember, it sounds fucking great.
I love this chorus. It's so good. It's probably the catchiest on the album with the jars.
Oh yeah,
Did you
definitely.
sing? Actually, did you do the gang vocals with this one?
I did. It was me, Trevor, and Brian all in Trevor's closet, and we were all in a semicircle together, screaming at a microphone. And it was funny because he would send us the lyrics to the songs, and I wouldn't like pay a whole lot of attention. I'd always be like, "Oh, well, Trevor's just gonna write,
Mm-hmm.
whatever he does, and it's gonna be good." And so yeah, it was funny to record the gang vocals to these songs because I didn't know the lyrics like entirely, and
Mm-hmm.
then we would record a few rounds of it, and if one of us screwed it up or something, we'd have to retake it, and I would have to be like, "Okay, sorry guys, like I screamed something
Butchered
weird
it.
here." Yeah, it wasn't exactly what was the lyrics or something, and so we redo it, but it was fun.
Okay. So anything on his playing so far? Um, was it good?
It's
Was it?
yeah, it's great. I love the attention to detail. Like, I mean, it's very easy to just kind of be like, "Hey, man, there's so much going on that like I'm just gonna, ad lib some stuff." And no, he seems to be following everything pretty
Mhm.
closely to what's there. I sorry everybody who submitted because thank you so much for doing this, but if I'm gonna be, an asshole and be very or at least like hypercritical, I do know for a fact that during the tom roll parts that he was doing, it's like like
Mhm.
you know. So that was not quite right, but like I mean, there's a million hits to worry about here, but
Mhm.
ultimately, I absolutely would accept it because it's you know the whole feel is there, all the other details are there,
Mhm.
and like that's such a trivial thing to get hung up on, you know?
Yeah, but he nailed it. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
And
definitely.
this guy, from what I know, he's from the band called Omnium Gatherum, something like this. Do you know?
Oh,
Like,
okay, yeah, yeah.
I
I
think he is.
forgot. Brandon told me that this guy was playing for them, and that like I think that this is his audition, or at least a
Ah,
video that he submitted that was like, "Hey, this is how I play," and they were like, "Oh, okay, great. Like you're definitely qualified."
okay. Yeah, he's especially with Omnium, it's like the things that they play is way slower. So it's good to see that the guy is capable of this kind of thing. You know,
Overqualified.
yeah, overqualified for the job. Okay. So okay, let's do a couple more.
Okay.
You said you wanted to see Goat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Goat of Departure. Do you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
I
So far.
think everything is done right with the feel and stuff, but man, you can't cheat the eighth notes on the ride
The
like that.
ride.
Yeah, the tika 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 tika. You got to be like. That's the only comment that I have about that. And
Okay.
and yeah, gotta definitely add as many notes in where you can and not cheat the beat.
James, how could you? How fucking could you do this to us?
I mean, like the cymbal accents for the blasts and stuff, there
Mhm.
it seems like it's all there, which is really good.
With this song specifically, do you improvise on the accents with the cymbal accents or you don't or just or
Yeah, no, if I learn it, like if I have the access to the actual like stems of the album, I'm gonna try and relearn it the exact same way that it was recorded. And I will say though, sometimes I do include like slight different stuff into playing it live and things where I'm like, okay, maybe I forgot or it got edited a certain way where it's like certain, you know, fills or whatever are not quite what I wrote in the demo version. But
Mhm.
yeah, for the most part, I try to be very deliberate and very like exact about
Mhm.
the way that I play stuff.
here comes the chorus, where Alan can relax a little bit.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay. If it had like the clean vocals, I think it would be a perfect metalcore song. But
All I can ever think of is like Howard Jones adding clean vocals to
mhm.
something.
Yeah, it's a good impersonation. But yeah, anyways, anything to add about James? Uh,
I will say that the little bit that we just watched
mhm,
again, there's some ad libs in there with not everything lining up, and I know it's a little bit herky jerky the way that I recorded the parts because there's a
mhm,
lot of kind of it's not like all rolls and stuff. Like there's just kind of like like stuff that's just kind of start and stop or whatever.
mhm.
But yeah, it wasn't 100% what was there, but I admire the work nonetheless.
Okay,
Kind of want to hear that beloved absentee because that's a little bit more busy, and I
it
don't think that
is.
that's a track that a lot of people try to do.
Okay.
Killer so far, like definitely seems to be nailing every accent that I
Mhm.
got in there, and
Do you switch hands also with
I
the?
I no, I don't, but no, I mean like efficiency is great. Like, if you figure out an easier way to play what I do, then let me know.
Here, like, it's very busy. The two floor toms. You don't have two, you have one, right? How do you
Yeah, yeah.
the situation?
To be honest, like it's actually kind of funny because I don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it's not what I was doing in the song, but I like what he was doing there. Like he was adding a little bit more than what I had done, and even though it's not 100% accurate, I like the addition that he
It
added
fits
in
the
there.
song, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I again don't know if that disqualifies or if that's like
No, no, no. It's your choice. Whatever you like, have your own criteria, whether you think that it's complements the song or like it's to the T, it's up to you. You choose. I like the part where double bass goes, which is closer to the song. Let's check it out how he manages it.
oh yeah.
I think
I liked it. I liked
Mhm,
what he had to offer, and I liked the feel of it. Like it just it carries very fluidly
mhm,
throughout the whole song, and the things that are not 110%
mhm,
accurate are still very much like, yeah, if you were gonna
mhm.
play that live, that would sound really good.
How about heel toe? He was using heel toe. What do you
Oh
like?
yeah.
He do you, what's your like take on these technique? Because a lot of people think that it's cheating. A lot of people think that it's like, like uh, the easy way out and stuff. So what's your take?
I used to feel the same way. I used to be like, like I had to spend so many hours like learning how to
Mm-hmm.
play fast singles and I had to really, build muscle and things like that. But if you can do it and it sounds good, that's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it when you're in that situation of performing and playing it live that
Mm-hmm.
you deliver, then that's great. I want to learn how to do heel toe to try and be a little bit more economical and have another ability under my belt to rely on if I
Mm-hmm.
needed it. But like, yeah, this dude, especially for a lot of those patterns where it's just constant subdivision
Mm-hmm.
and changing the beats and going from runs to bursts and things like that. Yeah, it sounds really good. Like I wasn't paying attention to it, but that's a testament to it
Mm-hmm.
sounding
Okay.
good.
Good. Thank you, Josh. He did amazing job. So I think one of the best covers that I've seen. He's very efficient. Yeah,
Yeah.
kudos. The last one, the bonus one.
Hey Alan, my name's Sam. I don't play drums, I don't have a drum set, but I don't want to feel left out of this contest. So this is my cover of Goat of Departure.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. Any comment on foot technique or?
Um, he's I love the uh creativity of it, and I will say that you're probably not gonna have time to hit both cymbals, while you're blasting. You're gonna have to
Mhm.
use one arm, I think, but it'd be interesting to, to hear it actually on a kit, but I like like I said, creativity of it.
Oh, okay. Let's see if he's gonna nail the fill. Nailing it. My guy. Okay. Uh,
Literally had to turn my head like this.
but anyways, that was the last one. I'll send you the guy. Yeah, just kudos. No drum set, but he still wanted to take part. Hopefully he wins. I
Yeah,
bet
yeah,
on him.
yeah. I,
I
I
bet on
like
you, guy.
that. I never would have thought anybody would submit something like that or even, attempt something like that. But it's uh, thumbs up for inventiveness.
I have like quite a few more submissions that I'll send you later. You'll pick the
Okay.
one, as I said before.
All right, so I just got done watching all the submissions and just want to thank everybody who decided to participate in this. It was awesome getting to watch all your covers and very flattering to see how many of you wanted to be a part of it. But in the end, there can only be one winner, and that winner is Ate Pessinen with his cover of Jars. You crushed it, dude. Great job. Hope you enjoy the vinyl, and thanks again to everybody who submitted their covers.
But yeah, let's wrap it up a little bit because it's already what 3.5 hours. I
Yeah, yeah.
kept
Sorry,
you
it's
there. Thank you so much for doing that. It's been like such a pleasure to talk to you, like as the person who loves Dahlia. It's my favorite band, probably. Yeah, it is. It is my favorite band. Yeah,
thanks,
and
man.
like it's been, like so many periods of time that I again associate with the band. Either it's being in the fucking army, when I had like a iPod
Oh
and
yeah.
and like going through some shit, like the breakups and everything. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same. So, but anyways, it's just been such a pleasure to talk to you. I hope you just uh didn't get too bored with me
No,
like
man.
asking this stupid ass questions,
This
but
was great. I
you
haven't done an interview in months, so this was
okay.
refreshing.
Okay, I'll let you go. Um, I'm gonna take care of my baby right now because
Yeah, of course.
need to put
Yes.
her to bed. But thank you so much. If you have anything else to say, just feel free before we
Um,
wrap it up.
real
Anything you
quick.
have to promote, actually, also.
Yeah, real quick. The my side project Infestuous is coming out sometime later this year, so keep an eye on it and I'm sure I'll be spamming you before you know it with updates and things, and then
Mm-hmm.
basically everything else, whether it's socials or um you know various stuff like Cameo, all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a link tree that I think should be on just about all my socials that you can go to and you
Mm-hmm.
can check everything out. And if you like anything, there's a drum shop with used sticks, there's coffee, there's all sorts of crap. So yeah, go check it out. And
Have you sold your drum set actually, or not
I
yet?
have not. No, I mean, like, hey,
Well,
and you know what? There's a lot of tariffs that are being talked about and or like instated and then withdrawn and instated and withdrawn. Get yourself a used kit, no tariffs involved, flat price. Buy that V drum kit and treat yourself.
yeah, we'll put the picture of it when when I'm gonna be editing it. And like the very, very last question, which is, have you practiced with the new guy?
Not yet, actually. We will be doing that a few days before our first show that we're going to be doing this summer,
Hmm.
and you will all be introduced to him at that point. And I think you'll like what you see.
Which
You
is
already
what? When is it gonna be actually? When is it?
Our first show is going to be, I believe, Sonic Temple in Ohio, the festival, and that'll be with our new guitar player, or yeah, and then we're gonna carry on throughout the rest of the year with him, and you all know who he is. I'll let you
Hmm.
speculate, but like, yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised. I know that
Like
much.
pleasantly.
Yes, definitely pleasantly because
Like
he's
do pe
got.
like people? I again, I'll cut it out. If do people like know the guy? That's
Oh, for
the question.
sure.
Like no, he's like big in guitar world or something.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And I think it's just the amount of people that it could be is so vast. But like when we tell you who it is, it's going to be such a no-brainer. Like, oh shit,
Oh, okay, yeah.
you know?
Okay,
So
yes,
yeah.
and can't wait like for the new Dahlia's chapter. Um, yeah, and that's it. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Alan. It was a pleasure again.
Yeah,
Have a
thank you.
wonderful night.